Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. I recently watched this video by Shadid Bosen, and he's talking about Black Wall Street and the powers that came together to create that tragedy, and how it couldn't happen now because the power has shifted. And I thought this is really something, and I think this is something that we all should look at, because maybe the barriers that our people had in 1921 they don't have now, not because they don't want to. Their descendants are a lot like them, but it just wouldn't work now. So I want you to hear him, and then we'll talk about it.
That they love money more than they hate you. So you need to understand what has changed since those days, because the conditions are not what they were. In 1921, the power structure that burned Greenwood, that burned Black Wall Street, was at the absolute peak of its global ascent. American capital, American political power, American white demographic dominance were all aligned in a single reinforcing project. You understand me? The local mob in Tulsa, the Oklahoma State National Guard, the federal silence in Washington, the financial interests of the white merchants who competed with Black Wall Street, all of those forces.
Now, that's the part we need to get. The people were vicious. There's no question about that. But that viciousness came from the fact that Black people were thriving in Tulsa, and the white people did not have access to those Black people's dollars. It's just like those Asian people now. Those Asian people really are behaving as if they have a right to our money. So it's something about our money that people really want our money. They don't want us to have our money. But that was a part of what the destruction of Black Wall Street was about. It was about Black merchants competing with white merchants for Black people's money.
All of those forces were all moving in the same direction because they were all serving a single, at that time, coherent imperial project that required, by its own logic, Black subordination as a structural feature domestically. That alignment is what destroyed Greenwood. It couldn't have been destroyed without it. Not just white racist hatred alone, not just state power alone. The alignment of capital, state, and mob, all pointing at the same target in service to a project that they all had a stake in. Well, in 2026, that alignment is gone.
So what he's saying is that in order for that tragedy to come off the way it did in Tulsa, the local merchants, the state power in the form of the National Guard, and the silence from Washington, D.C., all came together. They were all working together to destroy the Black neighborhood and to subjugate Black people and to take Black people's money, because that's what it was all about. Subjugating Black people, number one, and then getting Black people's money, number two, because after all, this is a capitalistic society, so you need money. So they are all after Black people's money. But in 2026, 105 years later, or something like that, those powers are not working together now because it's a new sheriff in town, and it's called international oligarchs. And those people are about everybody's money, because you see Home Depot and Walmart and JCPenney and Sears, they wiped out mom and pop places that were running the show back in the day. The local hardware replaced by Home Depot. The local grocery store, Walmart, Publix, Kroger. These are national and international chains. And he's going to tell you about all of these different people who are running the world, and they are not your local merchant. These big chains came and wiped those stores out. Now, we don't see the Bible in action when we look at this, because we're just, this is just happening. But if you read the book of Daniel, you will see it's all there. In Daniel 7, it talks about the globalized power structure that aligns with global markets, not local markets. See, it was the local markets that kept us terrorized and that caused so many of our tragedies. But now we're dealing with the global markets where everybody is suffering. We're back to survival of the fittest.
That alignment is gone. The owners and controllers of global financialized capital, the people that we've been talking about, the people who actually run the world right now, the Vanguards, the State Streets, the BlackRocks, the asset managers and the sovereign wealth funds and the cross-border financial networks and so forth, they are no longer aligned, or they no longer have a stake in the American racial hierarchical order. They have no stake in that. Their wealth is global.
And I am glad that the American hierarchical system has collapsed, because that is what has been keeping us down. White on the top and black on the bottom. I'm glad that that system is over. The modern ruling order doesn't operate on the same incentives as the old government structure did. This modern ruling order does not care about segregation, racial hierarchy, or social engineering, because that's what we were under. And they're not doing that because they're good or because they're moral or because they finally got religion. It's because they're not running things anymore.
Their interests are global. Their loyalty to the American imperial project is entirely and completely contingent and increasingly transactional. And a great deal of their capital has already begun to exit the American project entirely already. They're buying agricultural land in Africa. They're shifting manufacturing to Vietnam. They're shifting manufacturing to Indonesia and Mexico. They're parking capital in Dubai. They're parking capital in Singapore. They're parking their capital in Hong Kong. They are investing in BRICS-aligned infrastructure projects in the Global South. I told you, they're building their relationships with the Global South. They're positioning themselves for the post-American world order, which is coming right now.
Now, this whole business about American capitalism coming to a close, white people are feeling that more than we do, because we know that we can adapt. We can adjust to whatever is coming down the pike. They are the ones who are spacing out because they have been propped up for the last 400 and something years to think that they were important, or that they were supposed to have the best of everything, or that they were at the top of the hierarchy. And they see it collapsing more than we do, although we see it. If you listen to Lisa Cabrera or if you listen to Sister Deborah, they talk about it all the time. It's collapsing. But you see, we're still standing, and we are going to be standing because we've been through the worst of it. So we can handle it. We can handle it. We are not running. The time might come when we will run, but right now, we're standing steadfast.
They understand that this is coming, whether or not the average American understands it or likes it or not, or any white nationalist likes it or not. I'm telling you, Uncle Sam is losing his support system. That sort of Tulsa-style alignment assumed that capital was American and that the interests of capital were tied to the maintenance of the American domestic order, which includes white supremacist racial hierarchical order.
One thing that I believe, and I truly believe, that America missed an opportunity several times to align with Black Americans. But each time their hatred, their selfishness, and their greed overtook their humanity. And they would not let themselves see our humanity because their greed or their selfishness or their whiteness or whatever was stood in the way. And now it's too late. Black people don't care. And so whatever happens to them happens because we're not going to work for free anymore. And hate doesn't pay. We've been telling them, and even the statistics, their own statisticians have told them that racism costs, but it didn't matter to them. But now they're going to see it, and they're going to see it in real time because the New World Order does not care about their whiteness. And the New World Order is not necessarily a better system than what we had. We had a good system if only they had practiced it right. In other words, if, as Dr. King said, if they would live up to what they say on paper, if they would say that everybody is created equally, that everybody has a right to happiness. But no, they took that all of that away from us because they had the power of the gun. And Shahid Bosen also does a series on violence, and I'm going to do that video real soon. How America thinks that being violent is the answer to everything. It's not. Humanity is the answer. Our humanity that goes for the black people and the white people. And when white people have tried to exercise humanity towards black people, they have been punished. So anyway, we still have a fight on our hands because, power concedes nothing without a fight. But this time, we don't have to fight with both our hands tied behind us. And so we will see. We will see how it all turns out. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Oh, and I want to tell you that I have uploaded a new video on Black American lineage, the chemists they tried to erase. And it's really about an unsung hero, a regular person who did an extraordinary thing, and then white people tried to take his legacy away from him. So go and watch that video on Black American lineage, the chemist they tried to erase. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.